Hey everybody, Douglas Blair Roberts here, the Super Vader 400, and of course the brown skin human coming back at you with another movie series review intro. My previous movie series review intro, whenever I uploaded to YouTube, for some odd reason, the newest, the Crush 40 upload of Sonic What I'm Made Of, their uploaded version for some odd reason has a copyright on it, and whenever I see, and the copyright is actually not a problem according to YouTube, but if I ever want to set this account up for monetization, it will be a problem. So I'm going to do a remade version using two non-copyrighted songs. Even though this is an intro for movie reviews and rants, the What I'm Made Of will from now on this channel will only be the outro, and I'll use one of the old school non-copyrighted uploads of Sonic What I'm Made Of. The intros will feature the Sonic Heroes theme, which I haven't used in a long time, and of course the iconic We Can that I use a lot now. Everywhere on every other platform, the intros, I will use the old intro. So with that being said, let's get started right now. Alright, now it's time for the superior Tom Holland Spider-Man series in 2015. 2015. You know how exciting I was. It was late 2014. 2014 was an awesome year. There were so many awesome movies that year. It was such an awesome year. I wish I could go back to 2014. Much better. Well, there are several things I like better now, but there were so many things that were better in 2014, and one of them was movies in my quote unquote personal life. Well, anyway, one of my favorite things about 2014 was when people finally saw the light. See, even as bad as the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was, I thought it was going to be popular. I thought it was going to top box office. I thought it was going to win awards, win awards, despite how bad it was. But finally, critics and people wised up. Yeah, we're in the age of the MCU now, and lackluster corporate cash-in movies like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, those don't fly today. Those don't fly today, and they gave the film royal bashing. They praised the actors and the actors involved, but they bashed the hell out of the terrible, unfocused narrative, screenplay, and all the atrocious changes they made to the source material. And then the rumor is circulating that that they thought about canceling this trilogy and bringing Sam Raimi back to develop another trilogy. Then the bigger news, finally, they talked about there was some Sony leaks with them talking about a brand new with a brand new rebooted Spider-Man in the MCU, and finally that came in 2015. Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, the Amazing Spider-Man film franchise was no more. Spider-Man was back where he belonged, where he should have came as soon as Sam Raimi was done. That was here in the MCU. And then we saw Tom Holland's our first look of him in Civil War, nothing short of awesome. Just a couple of scenes were better than two big budget movies featuring featuring Spider-Man, and I'm talking to you, The Amazing Spider-Man Part 1 and 2. Then finally, we get Homecoming. We get the coolest new reimagined Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm going to address the changes here. Yes, I hate it. The Andrew Garfield. I hate and still despise and detest those movies for the changes they made to the Spider-Man mythos and characters. However, the MCU Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy, which I love and adore, kind of did the same thing. Difference is they did it right. They reimagined and created their own unique Spider-Man while still maintaining what made Spider-Man fun and what made Peter Parker Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 did none of that. Did none of that. And the Amazing Spider-Man film series did none of that, and that's why I'm finally happy. Only two people are allowed to make Spider-Man movies. The MCU and every Sony film has been terrible. I even hated that Into the Spider-Verse garbage, that's the best work, and that's only the best because it's a cartoon and it's Miles Morales, the Afro-American Spider-Man. If it was live action and if it was the white Spider-Man, they would be getting the bullshits that they deserve. They would be getting the bullshits that they deserve. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was the only one to get a rotten score. But Holland, it was this reimagined. Even the things I thought I would have a problem with, when I saw the casting choice, I'm like, this was the weirdest casting choice I've ever seen for a film. I saw so many Afro-American brown people in roles that were usually portrayed by white people. I saw what I at the time thought was going to be the worst Flash Thompson ever. I saw a little Indian guy as Flash Thompson. That was until I saw the film itself and then saw what type of Flash Thompson was going to be. This was a different type of Flash Thompson and a different type of bully. This was just a smug, rich party guy. He wasn't the big, strong, aggressive jock he was in the previous films and the comic books. This was just a bland, smug, rich guy and party guy who uses his superstar status and money and other stuff to bully Peter Parker, and he's a bully Peter Parker, and that's the more modern, more realistic bully, more modern, realistic realistic quote unquote bully. Then loved I think her name is Marissa Tomei. I think that's her name. Loved loved Liz Allen. Love Liz Allen, and I love MJ. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, tell you the truth, as an actress, I can't stand Zendaya Coleman, but she was awesome here, and she's awesome initially, mostly because she has the Marvel machine behind her. In my opinion, the Marvel machine can make anyone good. Can make quote unquote anybody good. And yeah, and then this film made me like the Vulture. The Vulture worked in the comic books, and he was okay in the cartoons too. But I didn't see any films centered around a guy dressed as a bird flying around being an intimidating and serious villain. The Vulture was not only a good villain, he's in my opinion one of MCU's best and most realistic villains. Michael Keaton pulled it off. Michael Keaton, Tim Burton's Batman, pulled off an awesome Venom in the film. And loved, unlike the garbage Andrew Garfield Emma Stone relationship in the Mark Webb films, loved Peter and Liz Allen's relationship in this film. Almost didn't, because I'm an adult now, but almost wanted to cry because Peter Parker badly wanted to be with this woman, but duties. Spider-Man. Then another thing I like, speaking of duties, I'm gonna address criticisms. Everyone says, this Peter Parker was Iron Man Jr. and everything provided for him from Iron Man Jr. He screwed up on a mission and had to earn the Iron Man suit, which I like. Just like with Tobey Maguire, he went back to his old costume and that cheesy hoodie, that cheesy Halloween costume he had. He had a cool Halloween hoodie costume, which is if a Peter Parker Spider-Man existed in real life, which is that's what his costume would look like. And and that's when Peter Parker that's when Peter Parker that's when he was Peter Parker, he was Spider-Man before Tony Stark recruited him in Civil War. So that whole Iron Man Jr. I hate critics of this film because they're okay. For ones who are Tobey Maguire fans, I don't mind him. I can understand them not wanting to accept a new Spider-Man, especially after the awesome Tobey Maguire, which has earned him. But if you're some lame Andrew Garfield, supporting Andrew Garfield garbage, the unproven corporate cash in, and you're trying to come here and talk shit about what's Andrew, and you're trying to talk shit about the Tom Holland version to excuse the monstrosity, the corporate bullshit that was the Amazing Spider-Man. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I'm sick of critics of this movie right here. Yeah, that's up to you if you don't like it, but don't try to invent bullshit to criticize a movie. There's a reason these are it, and Andrew Garfield's were canceled and rebooted in favor of these. Then you got who else is in this film? Tom Holland. Oh yeah. So yeah, it was an awesome film. It was an awesome movie. And Tom Holland is the best Peter Parker Spider-Man ever. Tobey Maguire is the best era of Spider-Man because he's the classic, old school, and more adult Spider-Man. But this is the best when it comes to acting. He captures the seriousness of Peter Parker Spider-Man and the comedic side of Spider-Man. Loves his use of Ramon's Blitzkrieg Pop, which fits this awesome movie, and just one of the coolest movies ever. We also had cool Easter eggs. We had cool Easter eggs for the Scorpion. We had one for, which I didn't notice at first. I knew it was important, but I didn't know it was for Miles Morales. One setting up Miles Morales and the Prowler with the brown guy saying, "I have a nephew in this place." Then what was that other scene? Oh yeah, and then this film, not only we get Vulture, we got two Shockers. Another favorite bad guy of mine. We got two Shockers. So yeah, Homecoming, one of the greatest films, one of the greatest films ever, man. Action sequences, and Spider-Man scenes are my all-time favorite. But yeah, this is my opinion, the greatest Spider-Man, the greatest Spider-Man period, not just Spider-Man movies, the greatest Spider-Man period. This era, this time period, this version of the characters is the best version, and that's why I excuse them not following the comics. When it comes to the comic books, either number one, follow the comic books as closely as possible, or make something equal to or greater than the original comic books or source material. That's how I grade movies, and this is my opinion the best period. This is my opinion best period, with Sam Raimi being second best, and the original 90s, 60s, 70s, 80s comic books being third, being third and fourth, and fifth and sixth. Fifth and sixth is the quote unquote fifth and sixth is the quote unquote amazing Spider-Man comic books. I mean, the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books, my least favorites. The Ultimate in 2000s Spider-Man series and comic books, my least favorite Spider-Man era. So with that, yeah, then you got the very awesome sequel, Far From Home, which blows Homecoming out of water. Homecoming is still an awesome movie, but it's just okay now because Far From Home was so much better. Far From Home, you got the cool vacation. You got, my opinion, you got Jake Gyllenhaal, who was the MVP of actors and characters in the film, in giving us MCU, my opinion, MCU's best villain to date, where his actions, long after he's dead, will have a big part in the next film I'm about to talk about. His actions will have a big part, even though he's dead at the end of this film, and that's Mysterio, giving us our best MCU villain ever. Love the way he was hyped in trailers, where they made it seem like he can be a hero and something, but when you watch the film, it was actually surprisingly spot on with the comic books, this film. With the exception of his connection to Tony Stark, Iron Man, and the other superheroes not being available plot hole, which I didn't like, the other superheroes who could have been involved in this adventure, but because it's a Spider-Man adventure, they came up with BS reasons to explain their actions, to explain their absences. People like Bucky, Falcon, War Machine, Hawkeye, and a lot of them could have been Wanda, Doctor Strange, especially Doctor Strange, who's going to be in the next one, could have been in this film. Is Wanda and Doctor Strange. When you have a villain like Mysterio, you call a villain like Doctor Strange, you call a hero like Doctor Strange or a Wanda, who are the real versions of what he was. But because Mysterio is a Spider-Man villain, they came up with BS reasons to explain their absences and kept it just Peter Parker. But also that worked because instead of relying on help from other heroes, Peter Parker finally got to address the BS criticisms about him being Iron Man Jr. This is him stepping out of his, living up to Iron Man, but basically carving his own destiny, because no one can live up to Tony Stark. Tony Stark couldn't live up to Tony Stark. Tony Stark couldn't live up to Tony Stark. So yeah, the cool elemental powers, action, Jake Gyllenhaal's awesome costume, and like I said, going back to the comic books, Mysterio became a villain when he was fired from his day job. When he was fired from his day job, decided to use his cool special effects equipment for villainy. So already lining up, being closer to the comic books than any of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, and giving us our best villain and the MVP of actors and characters in the film. Love the comedy, especially the bathroom joke involving the Brad guy, where surprisingly even Flash stands up. One of the rare times Flash stands up for Peter Parker in this version. Yeah, and then the awesome final battle, when it's over, and Electro dies. Then at the end, that big spoiler where J.K. Simmons reprises his role as J. Jonah Jameson, and announces Peter Parker's secret identity to the world, doing something big, something we had never seen before, and setting up quote unquote the next film. And another thing, before I get to my thoughts on the next film, I was worried about the MCU post Chris Evans, Captain America, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, but the MCU post those guys is actually pretty good. It's still pretty good post those guys. The MCU post those guys and post Stan Lee, who died in late 2018. The MCU is still kicking butt as ever. Surprisingly, it's even better. Now, Endgame is just okay. In my opinion, this film and most of the stuff that's come after has been way better than Endgame. Now, once you get past the significance, Endgame is just okay. What about Peter Parker Spider-Man? What about Peter Parker Spider-Man? What about Peter Parker Spider-Man? And yeah, greatest movie ever, and love Peter and Michelle's relationship in this film. So yeah, one of the greatest Spider-Man film period at the time. And still now, this was the greatest Spider-Man period. If I had to choose the greatest Spider-Man movie, this was the greatest Spider-Man period. We hear Into the Spider-Verse, nah. This one was the best. And it got $1 billion, which is also like kicking the butt of the Amazing Spider-Man. I wanted this to smash and bury the Amazing Spider-Man films, and it did. So yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home looks awesome. The film looks awesome. And I got really excited. And worried when I heard it was going to be a multiverse movie, and this movie was going to be like a decade-long sequel to Spider-Man 2. His Doc Ock, his character will be in this film, and it will continue on there. And my excitement for this film started to wane when I heard, since it's a multiverse movie, they're going to try to bring back people from the Mark Webb films. At first, I tried to do everything in my power to disprove those rumors, those quote unquote rumors. But it turns out, especially after seeing the third trailer, it's gonna be true. It's gonna be true. But other than that, the film looks okay. The film looks okay. Yeah. Watch my second series. Watch my second webcam, my second part 2 webcam version, where I give more thoughts on the upcoming No Way Home. So with that being said, you don't hear the rest of the music, turn the video off right now.